January 6 hearings.
I didn't think what was happening was necessarily honest or professional at that point in time.
Once again on the Hill. A Florida officer who is also a scoutmaster
I know any other good person would have stopped on the side of the road.
springs into action after an accident. And one win away.
You gotta roll with him. That's what the coach says. He's off to a strong start. Thompson. Touchdown, a long three.
As all eyes focus on the NBA Finals. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Paloma Pimentel.
I'm Amanda Gray. Today is Tuesday, June 14th, 2022.
Live from the South Florida Media Network's Biscayne-based studios in North Miami, this is SFMN Newsbreak.
Second session, members of the January 6th committee holding the latest in a series of public forums. The select committee switching gears this morning.
As South Florida's Media Network's Michelle Morris reports, yesterday's public hearing on the January 6th Capitol attack focused on former President Trump's influence.
The House committee continues their investigation on the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, zeroing in on former President Donald Trump's false election claims in 2020. Yesterday marked day 2 of the January 6th public hearing. Key witness and former Trump campaign manager Bill Stepien was not in attendance due to his wife being in labor. In his absence, the committee presented some parts of his previous testimony.
I didn't think what was happening was necessarily honest or professional at that point in time.
The testimony was used to support the committee's argument as further evidence that former President Donald Trump had already begun the narrative of spreading false information about the 2020 election, before any proper investigation could be conducted for evidence of the voter fraud allegations. The panel also played portions of the former Attorney General Bill Maher's video deposition.
The early claims that I understood were completely bogus and silly and usually based on complete misinformation.
When advised he lost, the committee says Trump refused to listen to his legal team and chose to run with the conspiracy of a stolen election instead.
I thought was nuts. And the theory was also completely nuts.
Many local officials were in attendance, including Philadelphia former City Commissioner Al Schmidt, who investigated the fraud claims.
Not only was there not evidence of 8,000 dead voters voting in Pennsylvania, there wasn't evidence of 8.
The committee is using the testimony of the former president's closest allies as well as their own to build their case on Trump inciting violence and essentially responsible for the attack on January 6.
Donald Trump lost an election and knew he lost an election, and as a result of his loss, decided to wage an attack on our democracy.
After yesterday, there are 5 more scheduled hearings. The next one is tomorrow. In the Control Center, Michelle Morris, South Florida Media Network.
Parents in Martin County who are accused of keeping their son in a locked box facing a judge. WPEC reporter Mike Magnoli was in the courtroom in Jupiter yesterday.
Which phone are you using?
Normally I would use my work phone.
This is Jupiter Detective Andrew Sharp, the lead investigator on what's become known as the Boy in the Box case. Shocking and complicated. Tracy and Timothy Ferreter facing a criminal trial and a battle in family court. They're accused of putting their adopted son in a custom-built box in their home. They say the teen suffers from RAD, reactive attachment disorder, and they say he has a history of violence. Detective Sharp has been called to the stand in this hearing, and it's all about transparency, following proper police procedure. The Ferreters' attorney, Nellie King, says there's a pattern of deception and suppression. Like, for instance, the night the Ferreters were arrested, they claimed Detective Sharp and other officers were talking with them in their holding cell, badgering them, and they'd like that conversation to be entered into evidence. But the police department says the cameras in the holding cell area weren't working that night. Now look at these photographs. These are from the raid at the Ferreter house. The defense wants all police body camera footage to be furnished to them. There were 15 officers that day at the raid, but so far the defense says they've only gotten 2 videos from the state. Another argument. Some of the footage that's been furnished so far shows Detective Sharp on his personal cell phone during the raid and during the interview with the victim. The defense is suggesting Sharp's personal phone has relevant material for the case, but Sharp says it doesn't. And the state says an officer's personal phone should not be subject to discovery.
That was WPEC's Mike Magnoli. Should this case go to trial, these early stages of hearings will dictate what defenses the couple's lawyers will be able to use.
An investigation underway after 7 Haitian delegates visiting the U.S. for the Special Olympics disappeared. The 7 members were last seen in Orlando last Tuesday, but concerns grew after the rest of the delegates made it back to Haiti yesterday without them. Deputies do not suspect foul play. They say the men left their belongings and were last seen on Walt Disney World property.
Players for the Golden State Warriors waking up this morning just 1 win away from an NBA World Championship. The Warriors defended the home court last night and defeated the Boston Celtics in Game 5 of the NBA Finals. If they can win 1 more game, it will be their 4th championship in the last 8 seasons. Game 6 is Thursday at 9 p.m.
Marlins fans looking disappointed this morning after the Fish let their game in Philadelphia go at the very end.
1 ball and 1 strike. Miggy, left
The
field,
Marlins
that's gonna
took an
drop a base
early
hit.
lead
Bird's gonna
with
score
1
easily.
run in the 3rd and added on another run in the 8th, but let the game slip from their grasp as they gave up 1 run in each of the final 2 innings to lose the Phillies 3-2. The same 2 teams play tonight at 7:05.
Quite an accomplishment for a Florida high school senior. She has acceptances from all 8 Ivy League universities.
That's still ahead, and so
I
is
know
the
any
story.
other good person would have stopped on the side of the road.
A scoutmaster in the Sunshine State faced with a life or death decision. Luckily, his other job is a police officer. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
If a natural disaster shows up at your doorstep, you can't just turn it away. That's why it's important to prepare for emergencies before they show up. Go to ready.gov/plan to find the tools and tips you need. And make a plan today.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a 4th ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
A police officer in Florida showing that he's never really off duty. This roadside rescuer being hailed a hero this morning after jumping into action while his Boy Scout troop. It was Saturday in Jacksonville when Anthony Liquidara, a scoutmaster and off-duty sheriff's deputy, watched a black van with 4 people inside flip on its side. His troop was coming back from a camping trip in Georgia. With the help of other drivers, he was able to kick out the back windshield and crawl into the van, pulling 2 of the victims out.
I just see TJ pulling over and then immediately bolting out. I've never seen someone run that fast. We always hear these stories of his daily life as a police officer, and we're always like, okay, yeah, but we never expected to see him in action, especially not like this extreme.
Deputy Lakidara says he is grateful to have been able to help the family and to show his troop what scouting is all about. In a remarkable display of academic excellence, a South Florida teen has been accepted into all 8 Ivy League schools plus 7 other universities. Ashley Adirika applied to all the Ivy League universities in the fall. She graduated from Miami Beach High earlier this month. She originally dreamed of going to Yale, but after careful consideration, she has picked Harvard. Ashley is a second-generation Nigerian immigrant.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Amanda Gray.
I'm Paloma Pimentel. Get more news anytime at sfmn.fiu.edu.